Let's talk about and rank the rigs in Speed Freaks from worst to best. With the recent Warhammer Skulls Festival, an event made by Games Workshop to showcase the many different games that are being updated or announced for this year, one that was a little slept on compared to Space Marine 2 was yet another beautiful game focusing on my favorite little faction, with this game being based around the Cult of Speed and the Speed Freaks. Hey, wait a minute, that's the name of the game. While also taking some cues from the Speed Freaks board game. While I could sing the praises of the game and how much I enjoyed the car combat, I'm not. Everyone else can talk about how super duper cool and epic the gameplay is, and how great to pick up the controls are. Instead, let's talk about the best rigs and the worst rigs, and rank them. Or at least the ones we can get our grubby little hands on during the alpha playtest beta. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. The channel just hit 1,000 subs. Below the dino, desire comes with inherent suffering, and I'm mad. Oh, and it helps you guys keep up to date on my videos and posts that I'm going to make. Like more lists, lore discussion, explanation, and talking about video games in the Warhammer sphere. And as always, this list is going to be my opinion, and I would love to hear your opinion in the comments. Just keep it civil, and don't be rude or I'll tell mom. The entirety of this list is based off of the first alpha playtest of the game, with me only having about 10 hours to play it. Yeah, only 10 hours. So now let's get right into the list. At the very bottom we have the one and only Grot Megatank. Although this is a rig that I was very personally interested in, this thing just sucks a vaguely phallic squig. Somehow its description that hypes up everything from its amount of close range damage and tankiness, it falls flat in practice. The Grot Megatank reminds me a lot of a battleship, but if you use this you're going to get sunk before you can wreck anybody else. The Grot Megatank should have the best imaginable short range attack. The issue is that you need to be presenting yourself lengthwise to an opponent to do so. Now this is really stupid for two reasons. 1, you make your silhouette larger for the person you're fighting, and 2, the shooters on this thing are just straight up the worst. These things do absolutely no damage. It feels like you're throwing Nerf darts at them, with it just bouncing off of the rig's armor. The secondary weapon of the Grot Megatank is a ram in front of it. There are two purposes towards it, launching and damaging enemies, with the ram going up and down like a paddle. This ram doesn't work well though, because the tank's slow and you're never really gonna use it, and its turning rate is horrible. You kinda just have to hope that your enemies magnetically seek towards the front of your rig to get any meaningful damage out. And its damage ability is only kind of okay. And the emergency repairs don't really do anything because you already get crumps so fast, making it genuinely bad in a game from here on out has really well-rounded rigs. Next up, mainly for relying more on other players, is the Truck Squig Buggy. I'm gonna be honest with you, I still think this placement's very weird after thinking it over. Mainly because it can really help out rigs that are excelling at wrecking others. The Squig Launcher, which acts like a grenade launcher, sends out a volley of grenades that can make it so your car can hit others without having to look at them directly, especially over cover. With it only doing okay damage, but because of its low health pool, it can't really fight. Nevertheless, the weapon is still good, with a 360-degree range of motion. The secondary ability, the Grub Squigs, further cement the fact that you're healing your boys instead of doing damage, making it so you can heal them. Grub Up supports other rigs, making it so their wah boost goes up, so those that are carrying can carry even harder. Being the only source of healing on the battlefield besides passive regen makes it so it has its reason to be in the game. But the healing isn't even that much, or that crazy. For the most part, you can help your team by just crumping other people, being a fighter rather than a lover. Pretty orky if you think about it that way. I guarantee someone will prove me wrong on this take eventually and clean house with a Squig Buggy all alone. But that hasn't happened yet, and even though it is still good and well-rounded, it's a stupid, dumb rig and I hate it. Now to the ones I actually enjoy playing. The Boomdock of Snazz Wagon is a close-range, scrappy fighter, and one that really likes to ambush people from behind. And that's because the souped-up special minigun, while having pretty amazing damage potential up close, has only a 180-degree firing cone, making it so you can only blast right in front of you. This makes it so any boy who's up for a little blood-axe shenanigans could easily catch you off guard and wreck you. The rest of the abilities either help in ambushing or trying to remedy this fact. The Burn-Up Bottle is a Molotov that does damage over time when it directly hits. This is generally a really great projectile that makes it so you can dip out of combat while making sure your enemies aren't regenerating while you're catching up to them. And your special ability is your only means of escape. A silly little smoke trail comes out of your behind and hides your name and health bar, but not your war boss emblem if that happens. So, I don't know, get bent? I'm sorry, but this ability also sucks. It doesn't do enough. Anyone paying enough attention will find out where you are and wreck you. This is a kind of useless thing that hasn't helped me out much. Or maybe I just suck at using it. The Shock Jump Dragster is a fast and long-range car that's the best at dealing with being chased. The shock rifle, while having some of the best damage per shot of any primary weapon, only has about a 90-degree turn radius on its left side. The weapon works wonders unless you have a bogey on your six. Ugh, hate myself for even saying that. Or you could just drift and fight them head-on while peeling out backwards, which is the coolest option. The rocket launcher is a shoot-and-forget volley of homing rockets. This is the Lazy Orc's way of dealing damage. If you can just set up on a hill and pick people off like a sniper, you're fine and ready to go. That's at least how I get most of my success. And the warp speed boost makes it so you can evade most chases, and be the fastest car into scrap, making it so you can win the game by not only fighting, but winning the race portions of it, while also speeding up allies. It's really good, but it's just not the best. A great sleeper pick for picking people off at long ranges though. The Custom Booster Blaster is an all-rounder with the best vertical mobility in the game. The Rivet Cannon is the most consistent with basic attacks out of everything in the game, with it being generally applicable at all ranges with a 360-degree range of motion, so you can use it at any and all times, with it being able to be used in chases, being chased, or just sniping, making it the most dependable weapon in all of the game. Another great ability is the Stick Bomb. This is your basic explode on contact grenade that has the ability to bounce if it doesn't hit anything. I cannot wait to see some of the exciting applications of the bouncing grenade later on. And the burner exhaust is a jump and mobility tool. This is not only great at keeping forward momentum when you're using boosts, but to get yourself to higher elevations, making it one of the most mobile rigs, maybe even faster than the Shock Jump Dragster if you manage your resources correctly, while also allowing you to reposition or escape from other rigs during a chase. For its versatility, it gets this high spot. Probably the best starter class in the game due to its forgiving, generalist playstyle. The Looted Wagon is a premier and classic tank class, functioning akin to what I think World of Tank plays like. Based off of a modified version of the Empyrean's Lehman Russ, this rig plays the most like tanks in other games. For this reason, it's good at all ranges. This rig actually has the best survivability out of everything in the game. Your primary, the cannon, is very slow with fire rate but does a lot of damage while being hit scan. It really makes me feel like I'm playing with the Scorpion from Halo, which is coincidentally my favorite tank and Scorpion. Sorry, MK. Big shooters are the guns with variable radiuses of fire on them on the front and sides of the tank. They work the best when the tank is facing directly at something and giving out a wall of Daka. It works a little less better at all depending on where you're facing, especially if someone's flanking you, making it so you can't get any damage out from them at all. This is the only thing that gives other rigs a chance in a 1v1 situation, if you can get behind and circle the Looted Wagon. And if you make it panic, you'll get rid of them pretty fast. But if you don't have a teammate or two near you, you might almost be crumped yourself. The Grop Bomb is just kind of okay. It's a guided missile that you control with your perspective changing to it while your tank sits motionless. The issue is that the missile feels slow and doesn't do enough damage, leaving your actual rig exposed. It's probably the best ability in terms of orc theming, but in terms of actually using it, I find myself ignoring it more often than using it. With it being based on the actual playstyle of being a long-range tanky sniper, it's just kind of an okay ability, and I think it would be a great resource for someone when they truly find out all the intricacies of this weapon, making it the second best rig in the game at this time. But, of course, it's a little bit slow because it's a tank. They need to go down because it's not going to win you any of the race stages of a game. If you had played the first alpha, I think both you and I know that the Defkilla Wartrike was going to be in first place. This thing is called a close range hit and run rig, but its abilities and mobility make it god tier in damage and speed, while having good survivability. The twin boomsticks, which have a fixed firing radius where they can only shoot right in front of you, encourage the glue and paint eating tendencies of this rig, making it so you are forced to chase and boost straight at enemies, bashing your head right into them. The Snagger Claw is probably the best thing ever made, and the thing in the rig's kit that needs to be nerfed a little bit. The Snagger Claw is a melee move that comes out about every 5 seconds. This thing is basically what 3 shots most vehicles, and 5 shots tanks. Landing this ability, which is quite easy, and knowing how your basic attack works, makes it so you can destroy some gits like it's no one's business, making you the war boss of the lobby, and being able to do thousands of damage at the end of the game, while also being competitive during racing sections. The hook is insanely versatile at doing so many things too, making it so you can chase and catch up to your enemies or get yourself out of a sticky situation by hooking onto a passerby. I imagine when most people get better and better at this game as its lifespan goes on, this close-range juggernaut will drop a little bit in the ranking. Its only issue is that it wants to chase and not be chased. If someone is seeking out a fight from behind a Def-Killer Wartrike while using a Shock Jump Dragster or a custom Boosta Blasta, there is a large possibility that it can get dunked on. Thankfully, allowing for a bit of counterplay against this oppressive close-range specialist that, as of right now, has defined the meta. So what do you guys think of this? Do you think that I was wrong on some things or some of the placements, or right? Make sure to tell me in the comments down below. I would love to hear some more people's opinions on the game. I really do love this game so far, even in its alpha test, and I have had so much fun with it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Lore, gaming content, and everything else around 40k. From yours truly. Till next video, fellas.